Hello and welcome to Unacademy IAS, a one-stop destination for all the English medium civil services aspirants. Welcome to another session of Economy this week. And in today's session, we are going to cover the economy related articles from different newspapers from 19th to 25th March 2026. The discussion will be comprehensive, covering the articles relevant for prelims as well as mains examination. If you're liking the initiative, do not forget to hit the like button. If you're yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Before I start, here is a very important announcement. Those who are preparing for the Civil Services Exams 2027, ensure that you have the right coverage of the static syllabus, the correct coverage of current affairs, reading material, sufficient number of prelims as well as mains test series. Once you enroll into our courses, all of this will be made available to you. Right now, the courses are available at a discounted price of 16,999. Those interested in enrolling, check out the details by clicking on the link provided in the description below. And whatever is the price mentioned in the website, make sure that you use the code IAS English to avail the discount. Let me start the discussion. First article, the cabinet approves BHAVYA scheme. First and foremost, BHAVYA stands for Bharat Audyogik Vikas Yojana. The government of India earlier also has announced multiple initiatives to promote industrialization. But despite promotion, implementation of multiple initiatives, there is still a lacune. There is a need to promote industrialization so that we will be harnessing the complete potential of Indian economy. In order to promote further industrialization, now the government has come out with this new initiative. Under the initiative, the government wants to promote the model which is called as plug and play model. Now, what is this plug and play? Let me explain using a simple example. Let's say you want to move into a new home. There are two options for you. One option is you construct the home and then you move into the new home. But for this, first you need the permits. That is, you need to first acquire the land, pay money for it. Then whatever approvals are required from the municipality, etc., you get the permission. You construct the home. Now you move into the new home, start using the infrastructure. This is one way. Another methodology is the plug and play model. The plug and play model. What happens under the plug and play model? The land acquisition already done. Whatever approvals are required from the government already taken. Infrastructure already there. Now you will simply move into this particular infrastructure, start utilizing the infrastructure for whatever purposes you want to use it for. If it is a house, you will use it for consumption. If it is an industrial unit, you will simply move into this industrial unit, install the machines, start producing the goods and supply it to the market. So whenever this kind of an infrastructure is made available, it is readily available, you will move into the infrastructure and start utilizing the infrastructure. That is basically referred to as a plug and play model. The government of India wants to promote development of such 100 industrial parks. They want to promote the development of such 100 industrial parks. The entity which will oversee the implementation of the BHAVYA scheme is NICDC, National Industrial Corridor Development Corporation. This NICDC functions under Department for Promotion of Industries and Internal Trade, which in turn functions under Ministry of Commerce. So the project will be overseen by NICDC. Individually, the industrial parks will have a space of at least 100 acres and at most 1,000 acres. The government, in order to promote these industrial parks, will also provide financial assistance. The government has basically stated per acre, the government will provide a financial assistance of 1 crore rupees, and the parks scheme will be implemented for the next 6 years. It will be implemented in the next 6 years. But what is the objective here? What is the government of India trying to achieve? The government simply says, we will promote industrialization. The private sector participation will be promoted. Investments is going to happen. And as a result of this, we are going to create 15 lakh jobs. We are going to create lakhs of jobs under the initiative. Also promote or contribute to industrialization, which in turn will contribute to the gross domestic product for India. So these are certain very important points associated with the new initiative that has been announced by the government by the name of BHAVYA Scheme. Now based on this, let's solve an MCQ. Consider the following statements regarding BHAVYA Scheme. The scheme is anchored by NICDC. The statement is correct, by the way. Per park, the government will provide incentives of 2 crore rupees. This is incorrect. The incentive, or rather than incentive, use the term assistance. The financial assistance provided or announced by the government is 1 crore rupee per acre. Right? And the third statement, the scheme will be implemented in 5 years. This is also incorrect. The scheme is going to be implemented in 6 years. Out of 3 statements, one is correct. Right option for the question will be option A. Let's move on to the second article here. HDFC Bank takes action against 3 executives based on the complaints associated with mis-selling of AT-1 bonds. In the context of HDFC Bank, in recent times, there has been a lot of discussion. Now, associated with the HDFC Bank, there is one concept that you must understand here, that is mis-selling of AT-1 bonds. Now, what is the concept here? There is a set of guidelines which is announced by Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. It is Basel Committee on Banking Supervision. So far, it has announced 3 rounds of guidelines. Basel 1, Basel 2 and Basel 3. Now, under Basel guidelines, the focus is on protecting the financial health of banking sector. Remember this. It is not going to talk about the overall economy. It will not focus on promotion of exports. No, the focus of Basel guidelines here is to protect the financial health of the banking sector. So the frameworks have been announced. In case of India, the Reserve Bank of India, being the banking regulator, is responsible for the implementation of Basel guidelines. Under the Basel guidelines, there is a concept that is total capital. Total capital. What is the basic idea for total capital? The bank is involved in multiple activities. And because it is involved in multiple activities, bank also faces a lot of risk. And because there is a risk, there is a probability of bank incurring losses. Because the risk is there is a very high probability that the bank will also incur a loss. Now, in order to absorb the losses, in order to take care of the losses incurred by the bank must maintain certain amount of capital. Now, this capital can be held in 2 forms. One is the Tier 1 capital and the other one, Tier 2 capital. The banks will use different methodologies to collect the capital under both Tier 1 as well as Tier 2. For example, under Tier 1, the equity route can be utilized. In addition to that, there is a debt route which is called as AT-1 bonds. In case of Tier 2, most of the banks in India are using the debt route, for example, by issuing Tier 2 bonds. Now, in this article, the discussion is on additional Tier 1 bonds. So, let me be focused on additional Tier 1 bonds here. What is the speciality of additional Tier 1 bond? I'll start using the short form AT-1 bond. The additional Tier 1 bonds are issued by the banking sector, and the capital that will be collected will be counted as a part of total capital of the bank. But the speciality of the additional Tier 1 bonds is that they do not have any maturity period. They do not have any kind of maturity period. What is the meaning of this? Whenever bonds that is the debt instruments, are issued in the market, the issuer generally provides what is the expiry date or the due date upon which the bond as an instrument will mature. But in the context of the additional tier 1 bonds, these are perpetual bonds. These are perpetual bonds. That is the bank which has issued it. The bank will decide when they want to repurchase it. And when they are issuing it, there is no fixed maturity period that is associated with this particular bond. The bank will issue it. When they want to purchase it back in the future, the bank will decide it. These are called as perpetual bonds. But more importantly, there is a very high amount of a risk associated with these additional tier 1 bonds. Very high amount of risk. Why? If the bank faces a financial crisis, if the bank faces certain financial issue, then the bank might not pay the interest or the coupon rate on the additional tier 1 bonds. And if the bank's financial crisis will worsen, there's a technical name for this, that is point of non-viability. If the finances of the bank becomes worse, in such cases, the bank, after getting the approval from the Reserve Bank of India, might simply write off or convert this particular AT-1 money. Meaning is very simple. If you have invested in the additional tier 1 bond, you might get a higher interest rate, but in cases of crisis in a bank, the bank will not pay you interest. The bank will simply cancel your principal amount as well or convert into another instrument. So there is a very high amount or the component of a risk that is associated with additional tier 1 bonds. That is the reason whenever investors have to invest in this, there are certain criteria that are generally chosen. For example, the minimum amount of investment in AT-1 bonds is 1 crore rupees. Not all the retail investors are allowed. Only certain net worth individuals are allowed into this, etc. Now, what is there in the current affairs? It's very simple. In one of the branches of HDFC, the AT-1 bonds of Credit Suisse, right, a foreign financial institution, the AT-1 bonds of Credit Suisse were sold. But at the point or when the AT-1 bonds were being sold, all the relevant information was not provided to the investors. The investors were not given the correct information. For example, there is a risk associated with these bonds and the risk component is very high. This information was not provided. These were offered just like fixed deposits. These were offered as certain instruments where there is a very high amount of guaranteed returns. So there are allegations of mis-selling of additional tier 1 bonds, and that is right there in the current affairs. The HDFC has taken action against 3 of the bank officials for mis-selling of these instruments to the customers. Now based on this, let's look at the MCQ here. Consider the following statements regarding additional tier 1 bonds. These are tradable instruments. Yes, you will have to list them in the market. These are tradable. These bonds must have a minimum maturity period of 5 years. There is no fixed maturity period on these. The capital raised under this is counted as a part of total capital of the bank. Yes, the third statement is true. Of the 3, 2 of the statements are correct. Right option is option B here. Third article, the government has approved relief scheme. Relief basically stands for resilience and logistics intervention for export facilitation. So this is the expansion of the name of the scheme, that is relief. Now what is the importance of this initiative? What are the components of the initiative? The government of India now has come out with certain measures to support India's exporters. Because of what is happening in West Asia, because of the exports being disrupted, because of accessibility to the market being cut, there has been a lot of issues faced by India's traders because of what is happening in the global market. And this no doubt will have a huge impact on the overall economic activities in India. This will have a huge impact on agriculture sector. This disruption will have a huge impact on industries in India. It will have an impact on employment generation in India. And no doubt it will also have an impact on the households in India. For example, the crude oil prices, if they spike up, the petrol as well as diesel prices will also increase in India. That will lead to higher expenditure of the households. And indirectly, it will also contribute to increased market prices of many of the products as the cost of transportation also increases. So one area that has been covered under the initiative now is to provide certain relief to the exporters. Now, what amount has been allocated? What is being done by the government? Very simple. There is an entity set up by the government, ECGC. There is an entity, ECGC, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. It is an entity owned by the government. Now, this particular entity will provide export guarantees, insurance coverage, etc. to the exporters. Now, the exporters have been divided into three categories, and guarantees have been provided under this initiative, where the government of India has allocated 497 crore rupees. The three components of the initiative are: one, exporters who have already had access to ECGC credit and have an insurance coverage, and the consignments have been issued, or consignments where the bill lading has been issued. What is the meaning of bill of lading? Please understand, one is a manufacturer and the other one is a buyer. If this is done in the international market, there will be an intermediary, that is a shipping company. The shipping company will take the product from the manufacturer, will supply it to the buyer like this. So when the manufacturer will load the products, load the consignment onto the ship, the shipping company will issue a document that is called as bill of lading. So if the bill of lading is already issued, in such cases, the government through ECGC has provided a guarantee, The guarantee, ECGC gives enhanced guarantees of 100% of the losses that will be incurred by these entities. And if you're an MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, these are also very important contributors of exports from India's market. Even though you have not got the coverage from the ECGC, if you have already gotten the bill of lading, that is basically from February 14th to March 15th, in such cases, the exporters will be provided with certain guarantees, overall ceiling of 50 lakh rupees per exporter. That kind of a guarantee is provided. Now, what about the upcoming exports? This will provide the relief if the exports are already loaded onto, let's say, the ships during this particular period. But after, let's say, the 15th March, the exports have to continue to go. There might be losses in that particular situation as well. So in such situations, the ECGC will continue to provide the enhanced coverage of up to 95% of the losses incurred by the exporters. So these are the three components under the new initiative, relief initiative or relief scheme, which has been announced by the government to provide certain relief to the exporters. Now, based on this, here is an MCQ. Let's solve it. Consider the following statements regarding relief scheme. ECGC is the nodal authority for the implementation. Yes, the statement is correct. Second one, the funds for the scheme will be provided in the supplementary grants. This is incorrect because, listen to me carefully. The government now has allocated how much? 497 crore rupees for this initiative. But this is not a new allocation. The funds which are already allocated under Export Promotion Mission, the funds which are already allocated under Export Promotion Mission, now these funds will be utilized for the implementation of the relief scheme. So further allocation is not being done. The funds which are already allocated are being utilized. So first statement is correct. Right option for the question will be option A, only one. Next article, PM Internship Scheme. PM Internship Scheme. The government of India had announced the PM Internship Scheme earlier in the budget, Earlier in the budget 2024. which is this particular scheme is being implemented by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. There are two rounds which have already been implemented under PM Internship Scheme. But in the process of implementing, we have realized that there are certain issues with the design of the scheme, Now, to address this particular issue, to make the initiative much more attractive, in order to ensure more candidates will be trained under this initiative, government now has made certain very important changes to the initiative, right? And what are the changes? The third round, that is the phase 3 of PM internship, will be rolled out. Under this, the target is to include or get 1 lakh candidates, under this, right, third phase. What are the important changes announced here? The first one, the government has expanded the coverage of companies or the industries under the initiative, right? New age companies, new age industries such as renewable energy, companies in which are working under the global capability centers, the companies which are there in the semiconductor industry, all of these new age entities now will be covered or will be made will be allowed to participate under this new initiative, that is PM internship scheme. That is the first very important change. Second very important change is there were a lot of issues concerned when you look at the eligibility criteria of the initiative. Eligibility criteria. For example, the age, when it was launched, the age requirement was 21 to 24 years. That is, only those candidates who are in the age group of 21 to 24 years were allowed to participate, right, were eligible to participate under the initiative. Government of India now has changed the age parameters. The minimum age has to be 18 years and the maximum age has to be 25 years. This has been done in order to ensure wider participation. The participation of more candidates will be made possible because of expansion or the change in the criteria of, right, the age criteria of the candidates. This is one more very important change. Third very important change, when you are enrolled, when you are covered under this initiative, a monthly stipend is given to you. Until now, the stipend that was provided was 5,000 rupees per month. 5,000 rupees per month. Now, this particular stipend amount has been changed to 9,000 rupees per month. From 5,000, now the stipend amount has changed to 9,000 rupees per month. Right? This is also expected to bring in more candidates because the stipend amount is going to increase now. Right? And the fourth very important change, the time period, the duration of the internship also has been changed. Until now, the internship was provided for 12 months. It was provided for 12 months. And various stakeholders have basically argued that the 12-month duration is too lengthy. So now the duration has been reduced from 6 to 9 months. Right? Earlier 12 months, now it is 6 to 9 months. So these are certain very, very important changes that the government of India has announced under the PM internship scheme. The phase 3 will be rolled out. The target is 1 lakh candidates. We want to provide internship to more candidates under the initiative. Now, next article, MSME credit guarantee scheme has been modified by the government. In the last 1 week, there have been too many changes in terms of schemes, in terms of announcement of new schemes. So coverage is also according to that itself. So the government of India in 2025 had announced mutual credit guarantee scheme for MSME. Mutual credit guarantee scheme for MSME. Right? What is the basic idea? A trust has been given this particular function of implementing this particular initiative. That is, have a look at this. There is a trust which is managed by National Credit Guarantee Trust, right? NCGTCL, that is a National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company Limited. So there is an entity, a trust has been set up, and this will be ensuring that the participating entities, for example, banks, the participating entities will be provided with certain credit guarantees so that they will be providing loans for MSME. They will be providing loans for MSMEs. So the MCGS MSME, Mutual Credit Guarantee Scheme for MSMEs, this initiative has been implemented. Now certain changes have been incorporated. For example, have a look at this. The new change is services sector entities, the service sector MSMEs now have been included under the initiative. In addition to this, the minimum project cost, when you start an MSME unit, there will be certain amount of expenditure, minimum project cost. So in the in the total project cost, the minimum project cost which will be incurred for machinery or equipment, earlier the condition was 75%. Now this particular condition has been reduced to 60%. And I know some of you will be thinking, what is the use of this particular scheme? Under this initiative, the loans up to 100 crore rupees, are provided. So basically that is the importance of the initiative, that is MCGS MSME. So in addition to this, certain other changes also have been done, but those particular changes are a bit too technical. These are the only relevant points for the UPSC Civil Services examination. So this particular credit guarantee scheme also has been modified. Now, based on this, consider the following statements regarding the MCGS MSME scheme. The scheme covers only manufacturing MSMEs. This is incorrect. It also covers service sector MSMEs now. The scheme is implemented by National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company. Yes, that is true, by the way. The scheme covers only those MSMEs which have Udyam registration. Udyam registration essentially is a platform which has been set up by the Government of India to promote registration of MSMEs. So the scheme simply says, get the Udyam registration certificate first and then you will become eligible for basically being covered under the scheme. So second and third statements are true. Right option will be option B. Only two of them are correct. Now next article, RoDTEP, Remission of Duties and Taxes on Export Products. The government restores full RoDTEP rates to support exporters. What is the update here? In the earlier session as well, we have covered RoDTEP initiative. The Government of India has implemented this initiative from the year 2021. But in recent times, the government, in order to rationalize the initiative, had reduced the amount of remission that were provided or that was provided to the participating entities. That is, the Government of India had reduced the remission by 50%. What is the meaning of it? Let's say I'm one of the entities that is covered under RoDTEP. And under this, I'm getting a remission of 5%. Now the Government of India had reduced this particular remission from 5% to 2.5%. It was the announcement that was done earlier by the government. In fact, in the earlier session, I told you this. Many of the textile entities have raised concern associated with the reduction, because their concern was, first and foremost, look at what is happening in West Asia. Even before this, there have been multiple countries, including USA, that have announced protectionist policies such as tariff, which is hurting India's exports. And moreover, India's textile exports are very competitive because there are other countries which are able to sell the same textile products at a much better rates. They are much more competitive. For example, Vietnam, Bangladesh, etc. So considering all of these particular factors, the textile enterprises had asked the Government of India to review, basically go back to the earlier policy and reinstate complete remission. The Government of India now has announced that all the remission rates which were cut by half earlier now will be reinstated. Whatever was the remission that was provided earlier, the complete remission will be provided or will be continued to be provided in the coming days. This has been done considering what is happening in the global market and the problems that Indian exporters are facing in terms of sending exports to the global market. right? So this is one more important update in the context of RoDTEP initiative. So these are the various articles, concepts, as well as the questions I wanted to discuss with you people in today's session. If you have liked the session, do not forget to hit the like button. If you are yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. And regarding the PPT as well as the handouts, that is the notes, you don't have to write down everything that I've discussed. The PPT as well as the notes document will be uploaded. Use the link, download it, and more importantly, use it for revision purposes. That's it from my side in today's session. See you next time. Till then, take care.